Lily had always been a quiet woman, living in the shadow of her husband's towering presence. For years, she had believed their life together was one of mutual love and respect. However, her world began to crumble when she discovered a hidden truth. Edward, her husband, had orchestrated an elaborate scheme to manipulate and control her. Edward had always been charming, the type of man who could make anyone believe that he was the perfect husband. Lily, naive and trusting, had never doubted his sincerity. But as the years went by, Lily began to feel a growing unease, a nagging feeling that something wasn't right. It wasn't until she found herself in the middle of a mysterious accident that everything began to unravel. One evening, Lily was injured in a suspicious fall at their luxurious estate. Though it was officially labeled as an accident, the circumstances surrounding it didn't sit well with her. While her body recovered, her mind began to piece together the fragments of her life. She had always suspected that Edward was too controlling, but now, after weeks of reflection, she realized that his control wasn't just psychological, it was systematic and all-encompassing. He had meticulously curated her life, isolating her from friends and family, manipulating her finances, and controlling her every decision. Lily had been his puppet, unknowingly dancing to his tune. Her world changed the day she hired a private investigator, Jack Sinclair, who quickly discovered that Lily's entire life had been a facade. Edward had been draining her finances, making it appear as if Lily was incapable of managing her own wealth. He had forged documents, created false identities, and even manipulated the medical reports to ensure that she would remain dependent on him. Jack's findings were enough to shake Lily to her core. She realized that she was no longer the woman she had once been. She was a victim of Edward's lies and deceit, trapped in a gilded cage. Yet, despite the shock, there was something within her that refused to accept this fate. She was not ready to be another victim in Edward's web. With Jack's help, Lily began her quest to regain control over her life. They uncovered the full extent of Edward's schemes, how he had been secretly siphoning money from her accounts, manipulating her business investments, and coercing her into signing over control of her health. It was a betrayal of the highest order, and Lily knew that she had to act swiftly before Edward took even more from her. Lily consulted with a lawyer, Michael Harper, who agreed to take her case on the condition that they proceed cautiously. Edward is a dangerous man, Lily. He's not just a manipulator. He's a master at using the system to his advantage. If we move too fast, he'll bury us, Michael warned. Lily understood the gravity of the situation and made the difficult decision to bide her time, carefully collecting evidence while maintaining the illusion of normalcy. As weeks passed, Lily's strength grew. She started taking small steps toward independence. She no longer allowed Edward to dictate her schedule or make decisions on her behalf. She reconnected with old friends, and her physical therapy began to show results. She could stand unaided for longer periods, and her body was slowly regaining strength. However, despite her progress, Lily knew that Edward wouldn't let her go so easily. His charm and ruthlessness had always kept people at bay, and he had a network of loyal followers ready to do his bidding. But Lily was no longer the woman who had been trapped by his lies. She was ready to fight back. The turning point came when Edward announced a grand gala at their estate, a lavish event meant to celebrate their marriage and business successes. It was his way of cementing his control over their shared public image. Lily knew that this was the perfect opportunity to expose him, but she had to be patient. The night before the gala, she received a message from Michael. "It's time." Lily's heart raced. She had prepared for this moment for months, and now it was finally here. She knew that exposed Edward's lies would not only destroy his reputation, but also free her from the prison he had created. On the night of the gala, as the guests arrived in their finest attire, Lily stood quietly in the background, watching Edward bask in the attention of their wealthy friends and colleagues. His smile was a mask, and Lily could see through it now. She knew what he was capable of, and she knew it was time to make her move. As Edward took the stage to give his usual speech about their perfect life together, Lily stood up, slowly walking toward the front. The room went silent as she made her way to the microphone, her every step calculated and deliberate. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, her voice steady and strong, "I stand before you not as Edward's wife, but as a woman who has had her life stolen from her. The life you all see is a lie. Edward has been manipulating me, controlling me, and using me for years." There was a stunned silence in the room as Lily revealed the details of her marriage. Edward's financial schemes, the forged documents, and the years of emotional and physical control he had exerted over her. She projected the evidence on the screen behind her. Bank statements, contracts, and medical reports that showed the extent of his manipulation. "I am not here to destroy him. I am here to reclaim my life," Lily continued, her voice unwavering. "This is not a story of revenge. It is a story of truth." The room was still. No one spoke, but the weight of her words hung in the air. Edward's face went pale, and his eyes darted nervously across the room. He had always been the one in control, but now, for the first time, he was powerless. Moments later, the police entered the room, escorting Edward and his loyal associates out in handcuffs. The evidence was irrefutable, and it was clear that his empire was crumbling. Lily stood in the center of the room, her heart pounding. But she felt an immense sense of relief. The truth had come to light, and Edward's reign of deception was over. She could hear the faint whispers of applause from a few of the guests, but she wasn't looking for validation. She was looking for freedom. The weeks that followed were a whirlwind. Michael and his team worked tirelessly to ensure that Edward was held accountable for his crimes. The financial institutions launched investigations into the fraudulent activities, and Lily's business, once nearly destroyed, was now under new management, a team that she trusted and respected. Though the battle had been won, Lily knew that the war was far from over. She still had to rebuild her life, her career, and her sense of self. But for the first time in years, she felt the weight lift from her shoulders. The road ahead would be long, but she was no longer afraid. And as for Edward, he had underestimated Lily. He thought he could break her, control her, use her. But in the end, it was he who had been broken.